Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and if you're a fan of Square Enix and some of their legendary franchises, then you're probably going to want to listen to this video because we got a lot of new information about some different projects that they're currently working on, and we could even hear about some of them as early as this month at surprisingly the Xbox Showcase. Yeah, I know they haven't exactly always had the best partnership, but that seems to be changing right now with multiple announcements inbound at their event. And then also it sounds like there will be a surprise reveal at the Nintendo Direct as well. So this is actually some pretty exciting stuff if you're a fan of their games. I know I personally am. So we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. And then we also finally got an update for PlayStation VR 2 on PC, which was hyped up as a game changer for this device. But now that question has kind of shifted to a little bit less enthusiasm, and I'll explain why. Let's go and get right into this Square Enix stuff, though, and this comes from the prominent leaker Midori. She has a great track record, which is kind of amusing when you start to think about it. There for a while, she was leaking a lot of stuff for mainly Sega and Atlas, and because of her accuracy, a lot of people kind of assumed that she was actually an undercover Sega employee that used these leaks to hype up their games, and at one point, she even decided she was going to retire as a leaker. Pretty much since then, though, she's expanded as a leaker, and now no company seems to be safe from her inside information, and apparently that also includes Square Enix as well. Now, even though she has been accurate in the past, though, still do take this information as a rumor until something is confirmed and nothing more. There is no 100% guarantee on anything until something gets confirmed. But understanding that, she gave us a lot of information for various different games, and this starts off with the long-rumored Final Fantasy IX remake. Now, we've heard a lot about this game already, really since the Nvidia leak years ago. That leak just keeps on giving, and according to her, it does indeed exist, and it's also far along in development. Now, she mentioned that she doesn't know when it will release, but what she does know is that it was originally outsourced until Square Enix decided to take it in-house themselves. Apparently, they weren't satisfied with the work this outsourced company did, and that's when they decided to develop it themselves in-house. And I'll say this right now, don't get overly concerned with that information because a very similar thing happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. And that game turned out to be, amazing, as we all know. A lot of people don't seem to be aware of this, but CyberConnect 2 originally worked on the combat system for 7 Remake. And Square Enix wasn't satisfied with that either, so they scrapped their work and they did it themselves in-house. So here's the thing. I think people sometimes get a little too wrapped up with the development cycle of a game. Anytime there's some kind of issue that makes its way public, people kind of freak out about that information, when in reality, most games do have issues throughout development. It's not going to go perfectly smooth from beginning to end. There is a process first and foremost. There's going to be experimentation. Not everything's going to work out. Some things might get scrapped, other things won't. So, don't worry about anything like that. That's not any kind of indication on its final quality. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But thanks to Midori, she gave us some key details that I think some fans will be very happy about. She mentioned that it will be a multi-platform game. Again, Square Enix is done with those PlayStation exclusive deals. Right now, the expectation is that it will be on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. I would also say that it'll probably be on the Switch successor as well, assuming that it will be able to handle Final Fantasy IX. Now, something else that's really interesting here that I think a lot of people will be happy about is that she said that it will be a turn-based game as well. So for all of those Final Fantasy fans that's been craving a turn-based experience, this here seems to be the game to keep an eye on. The only thing is, though, is that she doesn't know when it will be revealed, so you might want to remain patient for the time being. There's no guarantee that it will be announced this month. However, she did say that Square Enix will be at the Xbox Showcase with multiple announcements. Now, maybe one of those will be Final Fantasy IX. She doesn't really know one way or the other. So, in my opinion, don't go in with that expectation. If it's there, that will be a welcome surprise. surprise. Just don't go in with that expectation. However, I think we can deduce at least a couple games that has a great chance at being at the Xbox Showcase based on some of the things that we currently know. First off, there's Octopath Traveler 2. They, of course, already confirmed this game for Xbox last year. We still are waiting on a release date, and interestingly enough, some ratings suddenly emerged online right before the Xbox Showcase. So I think there's a pretty good chance that we will get its release date at the Xbox Showcase, and there are rumors that it will release this month with a possible Xbox Game Pass announcement as well. Now, that would be a huge inclusion if true, but for the time being, I would recommend kind of taking that as a rumor. We're not going to have to wait long before we get an official announcement, and then we'll know what's happening with that game. Another game, though, that I think has a pretty good chance of showing up at the Xbox Showcase is Visions of Mana. Xbox has marketed this game in the past. It's one of their ways of showing that, they have an improved relationship with Square Enix now. The Mana series has never appeared on Xbox, and that's all going to change with this game. So I think that we will get a release date for that game as well here. Now, as for Kingdom Hearts 4, I know a lot of people are asking about this game. I want to see it as well. We've heard rumors that it might come out in 2025, crossing my fingers for that. But Midori said she's not expecting a reveal for it this month. However, she did say that there will be an exciting announcement at the Nintendo Direct, and there's actually an unexpected twist here. This is really cool stuff too, because of course we all know about Dragon Quest HD 2D, which was first advertised as a remake for Dragon Quest 3. However, the thing about this game is that it's been a long time since they first revealed it, and we now might have our answer as to why. Sounds like this game is actually a lot bigger than what we were originally expecting, because according to her, this game includes more than just Dragon Quest 3. Instead, it's the entire original trilogy. So that actually has the potential to be a big announcement at the Nintendo Direct. These HD 2D games, they're incredible. They've been selling very well. And of course, Dragon Quest is a massive, massive series over in Japan. I do expect this to be a big-time seller if true, and a perfect game to play on the Nintendo Switch. So I think a Nintendo Direct is the perfect place to announce this. This could be a big game for them to release in the second half of 2024. All of this, though, I'd say is really exciting information, and I think it's kind of amusing coming off of yesterday, where Jeff Keighley, he kind of tempered expectations for the Summer Game Fest. At the end of the day, though, I just think a lot of the more exciting announcements will be at the Xbox and Nintendo showcases. I think a lot of the third parties are going to show up in those events, and when we combine every event together, whether that be PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or the Summer Game Fest, I think it's going to be a fun overall month. That's why we call it the Gamers Holiday, because it's the culmination of all of these events together. But you know what? Let me know what you all think about all of this. Are you excited for all of these different events, or are you expecting multiple letdowns this year? Now, we also finally got some information for the PlayStation VR 2 on PC. They announced this a while back, and it's kind of been viewed as a way to save this device, more or less. PSVR 2 is a really cool piece of technology, but it just hasn't sold all that well, and it's kind of gotten to the point where it's not getting a lot of support, especially from Sony's internal studios. It really reminds me a lot of the PlayStation Vita, where it didn't have that instantaneous success that Sony wanted, and then Sony just kind of abandoned it and left it to third parties to support it with their games instead. As much as I love the PlayStation Vita, that is a recipe for failure. So it is sad to see the same thing happen with the PlayStation VR 2, but if you do have one, or if you're interested in buying one, starting on August 7th, you'll be able to buy a PC adapter that will allow you to play PC VR games such as Half-Life Alyx as one such example. That game to this day is one of the absolute best VR experiences, and of course they are advertising that game with this announcement. The adapter, though, will come in at $60, and do keep in mind here that you will have to rely on your PC hardware to play these games. They posted the minimum requirements on their website, which I'll go ahead and include here on screen, but do make sure to meet those requirements before buying into this adapter. I think even more important here, though, is that you also need to understand that there's a twist to this announcement. that's honestly a little deflating to a degree. Even though it's nice to see this come over to PC, PlayStation VR 2 will be downgraded on PC because it won't include all of the same features that you would get by using it with the PlayStation 5. They did confirm that key features like HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback all won't be supported on PC. So I do think that's incredibly disappointing. I mean, you'll still be able to access more games, which at the very least makes the PlayStation VR 2 a more attractive VR headset because it can also play PlayStation VR games. So, it's the only headset that can play both, but I still would have liked to have seen all of those features on PC as well, which would have really put PSVR 2 in a great position. Still, though, I think it's a great option for VR devices just because the extra ability that it has where it can play both PS5 and PC VR games. Now, one last thing that I want to talk about here is, in my opinion, a really cool announcement. We've seen a lot of game-to-film adaptations over the past few years, and it feels like we've finally gotten over that hurdle where they're just kind of viewed as immediately bad. We've gotten some well-received adaptations like Fallout. We've gotten the Mario movie. There's the Sonic movies, and even The Last of Us as well. All of these were received very well among fans. Now, personally, I was not a huge fan of The Last of Us adaptation, but I know a lot of people were. And now we have another interesting adaptation being Like a Dragon, aka Yakuza. This is being handled by Amazon, which also, of course, worked on the Fallout series, and it'll be streamed on October 25th of 2024. They did note that it'll be an original script that focuses on the growth story of Kiryu. Now, personally, I view the Yakuza series as just some of the best story-driven experiences in gaming, period, so I think this is actually a perfect series to adapt. I'm legitimately interested to see what they can do with this, because now I can show my wife one of the series that I enjoy so much in gaming, and now I'm just kind of hoping they can actually do this series justice. I mean, that part remains to be seen, but right now I'm crossing my fingers for the best. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but as always, do hit that subscribe button for more content just like this, and until next time, peace out.